Okay. You are live.
All right, I'll call this meeting to order at 6:30. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good and yourself?
Good, good. Okay, everybody's had a chance to review the minutes from last month. Is there a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion. They look good.
Okay, anybody want to second that?
I'll second it.
All right, seconded by Brian, so we're good with that. Minutes are approved.
Well,
We'll move
technically,
on
you
to-
actually have to, technically you have to vote.
Oh, that's right, sorry. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. All right, the minutes are approved. So we'll move on to treasurer's report. Joanne?
I have the report in front of me, and what we have left remaining is $10,484.84.
Okay,
That's all I got.
okay, so I apologize. Do we need to vote on that and all that?
You haven't typically, as a commission, voted on the approval or acceptance of the treasurer's report. I've always found it silly when commissions do that because it is as presented. I will
Right.
say, I think there's some things that haven't hit the account yet. That, that $10,000 is there. It seems to me that the last check I sent to Todd can't possibly have hit that if we've still got $10,000 left in the budget, but it's
Okay.
immaterial. The tracking is as it
Okay.
is.
Okay. All right, so moving on to chairman's report. It's the chairman's birthday tonight and he is not here, so I'm filling in for him and I do not have a report.
Happy
Oh.
birthday, Brian Yacino.
Right? Okay, update on new businesses in Thompson. So the new business, the only one on the list tonight is Neil's new car wash, the splash tunnel touch-free car wash. So I have that right in front of me if anybody wants to see that, but that's it for new businesses.
Where is that? Does it say?
Right next to the liquor store, the one that
Oh,
the one that he sold, I guess, right? He owns the building, but he doesn't own the actual liquor store there anymore.
That's right. Neil's Liquor Store is the one near the Mass line.
Yeah,
I think it's a cousin who owns the one in the Yellow Plaza.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, the way I think it's right, the liquor store is gonna move into that new bigger building, and then they also have the car wash there now.
That is my understanding of what they're doing as well.
Okay. Any comments? Anybody on that, on new businesses or anything? Moving on. TBA membership, Brian has it down here, it's still 71. I was listening to Winnie Radio the other morning and Allie was on there and she said it was at about 80. So I'm not sure, I didn't see the roster myself, but Brian says here that it's still at 71 and not updated. So I'm gonna assume that it's at about 80, like I heard Allie say.
I do think it must be more than 71, Dan, because at the TBA meeting last week, there were 3 or 4 of the Danielson businesses who had joined. Chubby Dog, I think a salon and a photographer.
Nice.
So more than 71 in any case.
Yep.
And I don't know if there are any others in addition to those.
Yeah, that's awesome. They're doing good. I saw it because on the radio with Allie was I'm drawing a blank now. Adam from Chubby Dog and Chelsea, I believe her name is the hair salon from Danielson. So yeah, that's awesome. Good for them.
Yeah, I was at that meeting and Nick did say that there were new members. He didn't give the total quantity, but yes, the Danielson people were there.
Nice. Okay. Old business. That's all it says. is there anything we need to talk about for old business?
Is that all it says?
Yeah.
That's all it says on the agenda. I'm looking at it.
Business.
Marketing is separate under progress reports. I guess Todd would be under that.
Oh, okay. I guess I was thinking that was in under
Yeah.
old business. Okay, yeah, so
Nothing we talked
proceed.
about.
Okay, moving on to new business. So, the only thing under new business is to check on business signs to get an updated price. Oh, that was the other thing that Brian had emailed me. He said to make sure that we're looking at the original size, which I think is 36 by 9 or 36 by 8, and not the newer, bigger size 48 by 9. And he asked me to ask you, Joanne, if you're okay looking into that and getting updated prices.
Sure, from the same sign company, I assume, correct?
Yes,
Oh,
he didn't say anything about anybody different.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. And he said something about we have to talk about taking old ones down. Like there's one for Thompson Auto Care that's still up somewhere.
Yeah, and I did see another business in town too, and I wish I had made a mental note of it. And I thought to myself, yeah, that one needs to come down too. Well, I suppose us, any members, when you're driving around and you see a sign, make a note of it.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe Joanne, maybe is the one still up for Monte Bianco?
I don't think so.
No?
No?
I
Okay.
haven't seen it.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought DPW put those up and took them down if we couldn't get to them, because those have to be planted into the ground on posts, so we don't
Yeah, but
put them.
somebody's got to tell DPW to take it down, and I've never done it. I don't know if anybody on this committee's ever given them instructions to do that.
Only to put them up.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So Joanne, is it you who has typically ordered them on behalf of the commission?
Well, yeah. I mean, that was I forget who the last company, I forget the last company that I ordered a sign from. It's been years. I mean, it might have been pre-COVID. It's been a long time since I've ordered a sign.
So I assume that must mean in your copious records of the proceedings of this
Yeah.
commission, you must have the complete list of those signs somewhere. Do you have them filed separately?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got a folder marked signs.
So
You
that's
know me,
probably
yeah.
the first thing is to go through that folder,
Yep,
separate
yep.
out the businesses that still exist from those that do not.
Good idea.
And then, you know, a quick inventory drive through that all the members of the commission can probably take on
Yeah.
to establish that.
Okay. Well, you know how big my package, my folders are, so I'll have to dig out the sign folder out of my huge bag that I can barely lift anymore. Okay.
All
I'll do
right.
it.
Okay, and so then we're on to progress reports, and number one is continue with the marketing plan for the revitalization of the downtown core. Discuss progress of marketing next steps. What do you got, Todd?
Okay, I'll give you an update since our last meeting. I just sent a request to be able to share my screen if I can. Otherwise,
Yeah, you should be all set now.
I'm good.
I think
Okay,
so.
let's see. Yep. Perfect. Okay, so in the last meeting, a motion was made and passed to approve the domain name, purchase of the domain name for the EDC website and purchase the hosting. And a couple days later, after that meeting, the site is live. And just got this kind of flashing before you here. Just to show you, there is a big button right here on the town EDC page that can get you to the specific EDC website, the marketing website, as we'll call it. And also there's many links that go back, so you really can't get lost. We have Google Analytics attached to it, so we can begin tracking. This is just a real kind of a flash report of the last 30 days. We've had 158 users and et cetera, et cetera. This shows the pages they visit. Obviously they land on the homepage, so that's going to rank highest, but they're looking at the Grow Your Business page and the success stories, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of people coming from Facebook, as we can see. These are the referral sources. I assure you, DKA is not the only visitor to the site. These are the towns they're coming from. Is there a Plainville, Mass? I'm familiar with Plainville, Connecticut, but is there a Plainville?
There is a Plainville, Mass.
Okay, let's assume this is Plainville, Mass. So obviously these are the towns that are coming after Thompson. Bloomfield, yeah, maybe that's me.
I'm curious about Riyadh.
Riyadh, yeah.
Riyadh, yes. Foreign investment can come from anywhere. So anyway, we were able to track visitors, and hopefully that goes up over time. We've also started to do posts on a weekly basis. Whoops, I just jumped past that. This week we featured Brian's company in a post, some photos.
Dance company. But
Dance
that's
company.
okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I can't scroll and talk at the same time. Forgive me.
I'm Brian Cuddy, so I knew what you meant.
You're actually you're in Brian's chair, so I'm technically no. We're using Instagram as well too, and with the posts, we can see who's engaging. So each time somebody does, and this button says follow, I go in and click that, so we're gaining followers on the Instagram page through this as well too.
Were you the one who put this on the Winnie Facebook page?
No, I think they probably shared our post, so that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. So we shared last week. I came up for the visit by Comptroller Scanlon. Tira was there as well too, and we shared their posts. So again, we got into their followers group, if you will, and this one got some pretty good likes. Lastly, the e-newsletter is pretty much ready to go. It has excerpts of stories, and to read more, it drives you to the website. It's kind of contingent on establishing a distribution list. So we've been waiting to hear back from the Thompson Business Association if they're willing to share their list, and if the EDC and the town feels that it's appropriate, I would like to work with the town assessor. I think is probably the person who would have access to business registrations in Thompson that are appended with an email address. That way we can at least have a base. They may be initially all in Thompson, but at least we've got enough critical mass to push the newsletter out. I was also thinking that maybe the chamber would share a list with us, and maybe some other organizations that you can help identify. But that's the only thing really holding us back from getting the first issue of the e-newsletter out.
Yeah, I'm sure the chamber will share their distribution list, and if the assessor, if Paul can't provide you with emails for the businesses in town, Renee may have some of that as well, because trade certificates and stuff get registered through the town clerk's office.
Yeah, all I need is the address too. So if there's any concern over what are you going to do with the data, I don't really need any other columns in the spreadsheet filled out other than what's the email address. And as I mentioned last time too, we're using MailChimp. So the first time we send it out, obviously we're sending it to people who haven't asked for it yet, but they certainly have the opportunity to opt out, so we don't bother them if this is something they don't want to get. So, with your permission, I will contact the assessor's office and get started on that. And whoever else we need to talk to at the business association and other places, just let me know their contact info and I'll get in touch with them directly.
I don't mind. I can call Nick myself and ask him how he feels about that. I think it will be fine.
Okay. When I was in town last week too, I was following up with some of the people that attended the event. So planning to get more success stories written. I sent emails over to Shelley at Triple Raven and to Zach at the I forget the name of the company, the storage
Superior.
facility. Yes.
Superior storage.
So be working in the background on content on that for the rest of the month, and then hopefully you guys will the town will pass a budget, and maybe you'll see me again in July.
Yeah, just so you know, next budget vote is scheduled for the 2nd of July at this point. And yes, we are all hoping that we are able to continue on to the contract extension with you.
Thank you.
So
And
the one suggestion I had for the emails with these summer concert series, has anybody thought of maybe setting up a table or a booth and asking residents to join a mailing list that would help the EDC?
That's not a bad idea, Andrew. It hasn't been broached yet, but that's an excellent suggestion.
And secondly, to that point, I'm in the process of planning a car show, and so I'm going to allow all Thompson residents in for free with their phone number and email address being their trade to access this event. So I'm working on building up a pretty big database of residents for future use.
Nice.
thank you. That's great.
What's the plan for the car show? Is going to be in town or out
Yeah,
of town?
Thompson Speedway. I'm just waiting for Scott to get back to me. We're trying to just button up this contract.
So it's not the wicked big car show, it's something else.
Yeah, something completely different.
Okay. Oh, I love the
and-
site, Todd, and I love those analytics too. That's really great. And like Kira said, I'm really interested in why Riyadh is there, but
You
it does
see
give you
that all
something
the
to work
time.
with when you see that stuff.
It's as they say, it's the tangled web we weave, literally on the internet.
Maybe it's a VPN or something hiding the,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, there's data scrapers all over the place, and who
Right.
knows what they're scraping for. So anything else at this point in time, Todd? I mean, I think I feel comfortable speaking on behalf of the commission. I think everybody's pleased with the forms and templates that have now been created. Implementation is going to be our challenge now because it's now budget dependent on being able to hire you guys for that. And as we've previously discussed, if the budget fails again and we get put in the position that we have to cut EDC funds for the coming year, which so far we have not had to do, certainly you and I will have a preliminary discussion about what that means. And then there were 2 other bidders in the initial round that if it really looks like we have to get new quotes, we would also offer to them. But you are the incumbent in the project, so it certainly makes the most sense, I think, to everybody. But anyways, that's where we are.
Yeah, the building blocks and the basic tools are there, I think, and as long as you guys are happy with those, the devil's in the details from here. Social media is dependent obviously on content and frequency, and also we really want to drive toward how are we getting engagement? We're getting engagement obviously, but are we going to get inquiries off of this from prospective or existing businesses that want to grow in town? So right now it's about branding and awareness building, but at some point it's got to be about conversion. Otherwise, you'll say, well, you're showing me continual traffic that is visiting this, but are we getting anything from this? So it has to continue to be activated, but I think that, like anything else, budget or not, it's going to take a little bit of time. But again, as long as we have some of the doing going on over the summer months, I think we want to look at key events going forward that might help us, increase our visibility and get more leads. And the thing is that right now the town can only do so much, and then it's kind of in the hands of the private economy, right? You don't really have any control over developers or construction companies or businesses themselves. But we again want to brand the town as being, very opportunistic and ripe for development again in certain areas. So I think again the awareness building is important, but we want to have that feedback loop built in so that we know people are getting the message and it's the right message and it's something they want to respond to. So we have to work together on that, as I know, and I think this group has definitely, since you guys are in town every day, you have a better finger on the pulse than I do. So anything that you can think of that I should be doing as we move forward, I'm happy to help.
I would say for like a first, possibly for a first newsletter post or maybe even a post, a regular social media post. We do have at least one commercial building up and for sale, which is the old, well, everybody here calls it the old KFC. It was most recently a restaurant called Drafters. That's been on the market for several months. It's totally vacant, has a huge parking lot, and has a practically brand new commercial kitchen in it. Might even have two full commercial kitchens. I'm not even sure about that. The building itself is kind of doggy, not that we would want to promote that in particular. But it is there and available, and it's right there in that downtown loop. So there's that. There's one small parcel that Ricky DeRozier owns next to the Dollar General. It's a scrub lot, but it is raw developable land in the downtown core. And they're not making any more of that.
Right.
So, there
Is
may
it,
be another couple of those.
Like
isn't Frank's
featured
there.
building
properties.
still-
Yeah.
Isn't Frank's building still for sale?
One?
What'd you say, Brian?
Isn't Frank's building still for sale, Langlois?
Oh, I've
Frank,
it's
who's Frank?
sort of under agreement. They're as I understand it, one of the existing tenants is trying to buy it, but they're having trouble, I think, with the financing because of the way things are right now. So it's been taking a long time.
Joanne, that's Frank Langlois. It's the old Our Father's Table restaurant across from the Knights building.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I mention every single month. That's still under contract. It's been under deposit since last October.
Wow.
Wow.
It hasn't sold yet. It has not sold yet.
From kitchen.
So
Yeah, so those two are the ones that jump to mind, Todd, but I'm sure we could do a hunt around to find any others, but those are in the downtown core, which again is our real priority anyway.
Yeah, we'll put a featured properties section into that newsletter template. I could also post about it too. And I'll research the addresses and see if there
Well,
are
I
listing
have all
agents. Do you have those?
I have that. I could send it to you, but
Oh,
they're
great.
all lists that are available in the multiple listings. So.
Oh, great. Yeah, if you could send that to me, that'd be perfect.
Okay, but it also it would mean that you're displaying or you're promoting. You're not going to put down the agency or that, are you? Because then that's almost like free advertisement for the company that's got the listing.
Gets a little dicey.
I'm not sure that that's dicey at all in an economic development setting.
Well,
Okay.
if you do
All
it
right.
for one, you'd have to do it for all, no?
Well, I would think so. You know,
I don't think we
we
would
have.
object to doing it for all. I mean, within the boundaries of Thompson.
For sure. I mean, if that's the goal to utilize social media to attract those people, great. I mean, for my businesses, I leverage social media a little differently. So I go right at my targets, so my competitors, and I start to engage with their followers. It's a pain in the butt, but that's how I gain so much traction with a lot of my Instagram pages. Because, for instance, for my HVAC company, I go right at the biggest HVAC outlets in Rhode Island, and I find the people following and engaging with them, and then I engage on their pages under my business accounts, commenting under pictures, liking all of their stuff, and that brings other traffic back to me. Like even on my personal Instagram page, I was just looking at the analytics. I'm touching almost 4,500 people per month, and I don't spend a dime on it. So there are some different tactics that we can get into if anybody's interested on how to grow these pages rapidly.
Well, it may be a thing, Andrew, again, depending on the process with the budget. If we are in a period, even if it's a temporary period where we don't have somebody doing implementation on our behalf, where we may have to do some gap filling to try to make sure that the thing doesn't end up being, I don't want to say a wasted investment, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, like a dormant social media account. Yeah, there's tons
Right.
of stuff out there. Yeah, and I don't want to take anything away from anybody. I think it's great if we had multiple hands on it. That way, in case I'm busy, somebody else can jump into it who's savvy with social media accounts and how to run them. But there's a lot of different ways to grow these pages quickly.
Yeah, I'm gonna err on the side of caution because we're using the general town pages right now with an EDC message. So I think it like everything else, it's sort of awareness building. And if you guys are kind of pointing me in the direction of properties, we can certainly help anybody who comes in and says, "Hey, I saw that you help, you know, Joe at XYZ Main Street. Can you help me?" I mean, certainly that would we would help promote them as well too. Um, I again, I want to be careful that we're presenting everything in the best light too. So we're not going to show blighted buildings or stuff that, we're not gonna show it wrinkles and all, if you will.
Mm.
We'll just let people know that there's property available in Thompson. And again, I think you're thinking it through too. You're telling me about spaces that are former restaurants that are likely low-hanging fruit for restaurant use again too, if there's commercial kitchens built in. So it's basically just spreading the word at this point. And then when we really start to prospect, to Andrew's point, we might want to think about developing standalone pages for the EDC with a goal of doing that.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Sure.
Okay.
So,
I'll wait for that list and we'll start to and obviously I run everything by Tira before I post it anyway, so we have
okay.
that built in.
And so just to clarify on next steps, all we're waiting on is the mailing list.
Yeah, changing up a little content. I think, this is a new tactic, which I think is a great one. Along with promoting business success stories and other things, we will promote available commercial properties. And again, like I said, before anything gets out into the public, I'll run everything by Tira to make sure it's presented in the best light.
And actually, Todd, another thing that just occurred to me, because you're already talking to Zach Labonte, that storage facility that he has there, it's not just storage units per se. He's trying to be very diverse in that. So he's actively courting not just passive storage, but contractor based style storage. So almost like an office for a journeyman contractor. And there's at least one person who has taken a storage space in there and converted it to an office. So in this discussion of how do we infill with businesses down there, what are the opportunities? here are different kinds of opportunities, right? Here's raw land.
Yeah.
Here is a building that has a commercial kitchen. Here is an existing business that is sort of a
Mhm.
blank slate that is willing to be creative for other micro entrepreneurs to find space. Those are all three very different kinds of messages, and they're all again in that area where we really want to start packing business experience.
Yeah, that's great stuff. I have to I emailed Shelley and Zach Monday once I got back here, so I have to follow up with them. I haven't heard back, but that's a great angle. And it's becoming really popular. I was there's you know, every town in Connecticut right now is having this big workforce housing discussion. Farmington, which is out here near us, which is pretty well developed with Yukon and other places, they built brand new apartment space, and they actually, if you think about proportions, they doubled or tripled the size of the garages for just that purpose, for tradesmen who want to have the opportunity to have some storage and actually have some workspace as well too. I think it's a brilliant model.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna call Nick about the TBA list and
Great.
then the chamber and the town, somebody's taking care of that? I just wanna make sure that's all gonna get taken care of.
Yeah, Todd, all I essentially need is the email prompt and reminder, and then I
Sure.
will connect you to, I mean, our email list mostly runs through the recreation department, as I think we've mentioned before. Um, it's not 100% clear to me that, well, no, there's nothing really directly through the selectman's office. And then if you need me to connect you with Elle from the chamber, I can do that as well. So just that little prompt.
Yep.
Obviously, everybody's out of the office tomorrow for Juneteenth. I'm back in the office on Friday, and then I am out for a week and back in on the last day of the fiscal year. Great day to come back from a week off. So you don't have to, if you don't do it for me on Friday, you don't have to hurry.
Take me a couple minutes, no big deal.
Okay,
And I will include the link to the draft so that people know exactly what we're gonna be sending out.
perfect.
Okay, we're all set with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, Tira, grant application update.
So I don't have any new applications pending. It's all just what we're waiting on. I have to close the 65 Main grant for the end of the fiscal year. Um, I still need to finish my writing of the master plan. I will say that this is not going to be my usual piece of literary genius writing, right? This is going to be slapdash, get it together and get it over to the Fed, because for my purposes, I've really accomplished a lot of what we need to with the formation of the 501c3, and we're still working on the amending some bylaws. The the civil engineering firm working on the site plan is going to have 60% plans to me by Friday. That's what they've promised to me. And then they said 90% plans to follow soon thereafter. I assume they mean by June 30th, because that's when I told them I needed them by. And then those are the last two pieces for me to slap the master plan together, send it over to USDA and close the grant. So then the two big ones, still no actual contracts for either Brownfield or the SIF grant. But I did, Comptroller Scanlon was good to his word. He did follow up with DECD on both of them. And I've been in communication with DECD on both of them. Just received the financial assistance proposal on the SIF grant. That's the $4 million for all the Main Street related stuff. I actually had some corrections to their draft that I sent back. Hopefully I'll get those turned back around quickly, so that I can just sign it and send it to them. That's what will generate their legal team to put the contracts together. The Brownfield grant, similarly, Comptroller Scanlon did actually follow up on it. I've had some back and forth with the Brownfield Division and DECD over the last couple of days. They confirmed that they sent the complete package of contract documents over to our attorney. So he happens to be out this week, but I connected with his assistant, and she was able to forward to me what the state had forwarded to them. So that's all happening. I hope that means we can turn these back around quickly, because we are actually moving to create bid documents for both of those grant projects. I was in the mill today for an hour or two with Gumpert's local property manager, security guy, the fire marshal, our building official, and the environmental consultant who's going to do the hazardous building materials abatement design and write those bid docs. So those things are all now churning forward. Gumpert's work can start before ours can, and almost certainly will. At some point this summer, people should actually start to see activity there, because what the developer is doing is on the exterior of the building to start. So it'll be highly visible once they start doing their portion of the cleanup and the soil and groundwater remediation. So that stuff is, go ahead,
Excuse
Joanne.
me, just that would certainly, photographs of that would certainly deserve to be on our social media pages, like with the word finally, finally, because have we disclosed to the public that the developer is proceeding, or that the property has changed hands? I don't get the paper, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, it is publicly available information. I don't know that we've done a press release on it. Well, I know that we haven't done a press release on it. I don't recall that Winnie particularly picked it up. But I would hold that back until he tells me we're going to start construction on X date.
Okay.
Because what does the public care if it changed hands if nothing is happening? So
Well,
the public, well, we care, yes, but we know.
Yes.
So
Well, we were very happy when that announcement came. So yes.
yeah. So, but what we want to save the big public announcements for are the things that are tied to things that will have impact on the public consciousness.
Okay.
Right. So when that happens, when by the end of the year he gets the back taxes completely caught up, because that's the agreement we currently have with them, is that the arrears will be closed by the end of this calendar year, which is a big chunk of change. Those are the things that will have impact on public opinion. So we should get at least that activity going this summer. Bid documents for everything, I hope, will be out to bid in the fall. So that would be for the hazmat cleanup inside that we're covering, Main Street and Swanson Park construction, and the remaining architecturals on 65 Main. Those are the three things that would be out to bid this fall if all goes to plan. Which means next year, by this time, easily by this time, we should see the equivalent of $6 million worth of construction underway in downtown North Grosvenor-Dale.
Awesome. Cool. That's all for you, Tara?
Yeah, I think so. Trainwreck Park is essentially done. The grant itself, I think I have another year to close if I need it. We had some delays on getting a payout, and it's sort of affected the end of what we're going to be able to get done with the money remaining. Janet and I at some point have to go over there and do another walkthrough with with their GC, for that company. and figure some things out. We do have a formal event, the official opening of the new parking area and the relocated signs and the uncovered historic foundations for the 27th of September, which I believe is the first weekend for Walktober as well. So that is on the books, and we'll be doing our little rah-rah dance out there. The only other grant that I can remember being outstanding is not even one that I wrote. It's ECCD wrote it on our behalf for some stormwater management stuff around the library and the town hall parking lot areas. But we won't get a notification on that until the end of September at the earliest.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, Joanne, you're up. Real estate listing update.
Yep. So currently in Thompson, there are 6 homes for sale. 5 are actually out of the 6 homes. 1 is a waterfront. 3 are new construction, and they range in price from $400,000 to $910,000. May was a great month for sales in Thompson. 12 homes did close, ranging from $285,000 to $660,000. And as far as the commercial portion of town, these same 4 properties are still for sale. There were 6 last month, and that's because 2 of the properties that were on Thompson Road, there were leases. The old Agway, not the Agway building, but yes, where that woman had her little gift shop. Brian, you mentioned it, or maybe it was the other Brian. That building has been leased. There's 2 buildings. There's a big building behind it, and then there was a storefront right on Thompson Road. Those are both are leased now. So that just leaves 4 commercial properties for sale, and nothing closed
Okay,
in commercial properties.
okay. Okay, so then we're on to upcoming events. The Thompson Summer Concert Series starts next week and a half, I guess, the 28th, 10 days. And then there's 4 dates total: July 12th, July 26th, and August 9th. And then I can't believe we're talking about this already, but Community Day, October 4th. And the one thing that I'll add to that is that, you know, I know that when we always get to Community Day, like a month before, we're scrambling for Business of the Year recommendations. So maybe we want to start thinking about that now. I know that the Business of the Year nomination form has been updated for 2025. I don't know where, maybe you can help with this, Tira, where we could get those, how we could get those out to people so everybody can start thinking about it ahead of time, and then maybe we'll get some more people instead of the 1 or 2 that we usually get.
Well, I think we can also use our new newsletter for that purpose, among other things.
Mm-hmm.
Social media.
I will add an event. It's not so much a community like economic development event per se, but in case those of you who don't know, a week from tonight, there is going to be at the high school auditorium an info session and Q&A related to the new budget. There's going to be 4 of us doing a presentation essentially, and then we're going to open it up for comments and questions. I will be one of those, not the most important one. But Paul, the assessor, finance director, Bill Steglitz, and Board of Finance Chair, Rob Werge. So part of the purpose, certainly the piece that I will be taking will be debunking some of the really toxic misinformation that gets bandied around to try to tank the local budgets. There's some very specific things that I'll be taking on and tackling. And then, of course, the three who work more on the actual finance and the assessor, finance director, and chair of finance will be there to answer specific questions about the budget itself. Highly recommend attending. It's going to be live streamed, and we also hope to be able to capture snippets of it to push out to the wider community throughout that week in between that presentation and the budget vote itself on the following Wednesday, the 2nd of July. So kind of to Andrew's point and the general point of what we've been doing by expanding our use of these digital platforms, we have the correct information. We have the legitimate information, but we've always been on the back foot to those forums and platforms where misinformation takes root and goes off like wildfire. So this is going to be a real push for that. So mark your calendars, and if you can make it over to the auditorium, I highly recommend.
June 25th, 6 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
I think 7, the time I'm actually not sure of.
Okay.
I already have it on my calendar. It is 7 o'clock at the
It
auditorium.
is 7 o'clock, okay.
And that's at the high school, correct?
Yep.
High school auditorium, yes, June 25th, 2025, 7 p.m., Thompson Public School Auditorium.
Hey, Tara, is the public able to submit questions via that live stream?
I can't actually answer that question. I don't know what the limitations of the live stream are. I would say if you have a question, go in person.
Okay, so just one to clarify, the business of the year app nomination form, where can we get that?
That's right. That was a diversion, wasn't it?
Yeah, can we send one to Todd maybe if he wants to use that for content, for social media or for whatever? That would be great.
Let me just take a look at what is currently on the website. So I am an admin on the EDC page. I can't log into it from my home laptop because I don't have my passwords saved for that. But if I can get my hands on the base document, I can swap them out. This is just a fillable form live PDF. So I may have to ask Renee how they got this form with these fillable fields. Who has the base document? I suspect it's Renee, but I'm not sure. But once it's updated, I can swap it out on the site.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm unable to click to the form in Chrome. I don't know what you're using for a browser, but there's a button at the top.
That button is dead. You have to go to the
Oh.
blue menu on the side.
Okay. Which has 25 things in it, but
Yeah.
got it. Yes, that works.
Okay. Cool. All right, so then moving on to citizens' comments, which I don't think pertains because there's no citizens here tonight. So we'll move on, and then so we're down to commission member comments and or next agenda items that anybody would like to see talked about.
I guess I'll toss one more thing out for you. Some of you may be aware of the existence of House Bill 5002, which has become the most controversial thing that came out of the legislative session. I'm going to give you my personal opinion, and you may take this as you will. I believe this housing bill is crucially important, not just for the town of Thompson, but for the state of Connecticut. There has been a big push after it was initially passed. The initial feeling was that the governor was just going to sign it as is. His wealthy NIMBY neighbors in Fairfield County started griping at him. Essentially, they don't want to have a fair share that they are assigned of housing units to plan for, not even to build, mind you, just to plan for it. So there's been a big push, including a lot of people advocating against it here in Northeast Connecticut. Again, using that same kind of faulty rationale that we see about budgets, a lot of scare tactics, a lot of intentionally misrepresenting what is in the bill. The bill is available to be read. I would encourage you all to read it, although it is a long read. And whatever your personal opinion ends up being, I would recommend that you drop a line to the governor through his online contact form. I have done so. I can tell you from the point of view of Thompson and its zoning regulations, the impact is minimal. We have already planned for the kinds of things that they're talking about. There is one thing that would be impactful, which is multifamily residences of up to 9 units would become as of right, meaning no special permit, no public hearing, which is a place where good plans go to die. And I can tell you that although I personally would have set the level probably at 6 units, not 9 as the cap for as of right for very specific reasons, 9 is great and would help a lot of housing get built in a lot of places if that goes through. So right now, the feeling is that the governor is either gonna let it ride and pass without his signature or sign it and then demand a special session to make changes to it. I have a feeling I know what those changes would be, and they would really weaken the bill. But that's as unbiased as I can bring myself to be. And I'm clearly not unbiased at all.
The
All
only thing
right.
I wanted to bring to the group was Main Street Gelato. I don't know if you follow them on Facebook, but they put a post up, and just to paraphrase, it looks as if the Northeastern District Department of Health started to harass them based on their social media posts. They started to post up frequently the progress they're making on their new location. But then as of June 4th, and I'd applaud all you guys to go check it out. June 4th, they put up a pretty long post pertaining to the health department and what was going on.
Really?
Yeah, so
What,
I was just curious as a committee here, what do we do for new businesses or even current businesses in town as far as, I don't want to say protection, but what do we do to kind of shield them from what appears to be harassment according to this post?
well, what is it? Or
Hey.
what is the Department of Health mad about?
Hey, Andrew, I had already brought that to Brian Yacino's attention. He's
Okay.
already been in touch with the owners of Main Street Gelato, and Tara's also offered her intervention if they don't start making progress. So, yeah, they told me on Touch a Truck night when I was there, I engaged with how they were doing for opening, and they told me their concerns, and I quickly assured them that EDC would see what we could do to get involved on behalf of businesses and pass
Okay.
that to Mr. Yacino.
Yeah, and
Well,
I
but
don't I don't want to get over my skis in terms of like what my quote unquote intervention would involve, but I have told them that I am willing to talk to the executive director over at NDDH and try to get sort of the clean skinny on what is really happening there.
Right.
Obviously, their posts we want to take to a certain extent at face value, but everybody's perspective is personal.
Correct.
And I've only heard from their perspective. So I would certainly want to at least talk to the ED over at NDDH if this does seem to be dragging out, because it certainly sounded squirrely to me,
Mm,
but it's all hearsay to me at this point.
right. I was just curious to see what our involvement would be, if any, and on a go forward, if things like this happen to other businesses, what's our stance? How do we help? How do we intervene? Or are we supposed to be hands off?
I mean, you could send a letter to NDDH, signed by Yacino as the chair or countersigned by all of you, expressing your concerns, obviously in very diplomatic ways, since we don't really know, what the details are.
Can I ask what is going on? How did you even find out about it, Andrew? You follow them on Instagram, and see, I don't do Facebook or Instagram, so how would I know what's going on if nobody told me and I'm on this committee? It seems like everybody knows about it except for me. How do I find out?
So I only found out because my wife had called me when she saw their post go up on Facebook.
Yeah,
And
like
then I
like
started to
you, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, no, you're good. You're good. And then I started to read through, and I was concerned, but I didn't call or do anything other than having an elevated level of concern and wanted to bring it forward here at tonight's meeting. Like, how do we go
Okay.
about this? Like, what's our stance? Again, to paraphrase, because they were posting up so frequently on their social media channels, someone at the Department of Health caught wind of it and then started to call them and ask them questions regarding equipment, trainings, etc.
Huh. Wow. I mean, these people have had a rough going. I mean, because they had to leave where they were before, and they were in an awesome spot. They had great
Correct.
business in downtown Putnam, and now they've moved to the outskirts of Putnam onto a side road, not a side road, but not a business road, so to speak, in the town of Thompson. So they took a leap of faith to move here. So if NDDH is hassling them, yeah, we all have to band together to help these poor folk. Because I understand that there's also a barbecue going in next door to it as well.
Yeah.
Correct. I know the
Mhm.
barbecue place has done a couple of events outside of that location because again, I'm very involved on social media, so I try to stay up on current things. So they're out there, generating revenue, but I don't think Main Street Gelato is generating anything right now other than expenses on trying to open. And
Yeah.
with
Yep.
the health department getting involved, I would imagine that would delay things considerably.
Should we just reach out to Sylvie and Jared directly and ask them, if they want our support, if they think there's a way we can help rather than just doing it?
I'm sure
that's
someone's
that's
going to
not a
want it.
bad instinct, Dan, to see what kind of support they think would be appropriate. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
we're here talking about it. For all we know, it's already being resolved and it just hasn't
Right.
been made public yet.
Right.
Well, right, and
So,
because like they say, I went and read this post right now when once Andrew said it, and it says we're not going to post anymore because we don't want to get. So they
Right.
haven't posted since June 4th. So who knows, right?
Hmm.
I mean, they
Yes.
share their
Somebody
phone number
out.
there. So I mean, we have. I mean, anybody can text and reach out to them to see how things are going. So I mean, do we reach out as a person, or do we reach out on behalf of EDC to see if we
As a
can
committee.
assist? Yeah,
That's
I
what I.
would say communication from the EDC as a municipal
Yep.
organization, even though it's a volunteer organization, is more directly meaningful as
Yep.
correspondence to NDDH than would be any individual reaching out.
Correct.
yeah, agreed.
And that is slightly
I.
different even from staff reaching out. And I can talk to Luigi, but I would still want to get more background information. Also, my time, as you know, right now is like super constrained. So it's going to be hard for me to do that until I get back, at the very beginning of July.
Mm,
In the time that I'm gone, it could all be resolved as well. Uh, so I don't know. Do any of you know, Jared and Sylvie well enough, feel comfortable enough to approach and say, hey, the commission is interested in supporting you. How do you feel that would be effective? And then if Yacino, while I'm away, wants to write up a draft letter, I could look at it when I get back, and then, we could send it out in that,
Okay.
in that time frame. I mean, that's legit.
Yeah, I have no problem
Well,
reaching out to them. I don't know them like that, but again, I've been to their establishment in Putnam a handful of times, but I have no problem trying to engage and see, if they need help.
yeah. Go for
What
it.
about you, Dan? Do you know either of them
I know,
particularly?
I know Sylvie from the PBA. We worked together at Fire and Ice last year, so I know her. I've met Jared. I don't know them real well, but I also wrote the phone number down and I don't mind giving them a call.
So you probably have the closest thing to a relationship there then, Dan. So maybe you're the ambassador in this case.
Okay, I'll do that tomorrow.
And then you can also tell them that although I will be away next week, if they're still having trouble and they would like some, I don't know, lubrication of the relationship with NDDH, I will certainly do my best there. I don't know Luigi really well, but he and I have certainly met at on several occasions, and my position within the town, gives me a certain level of access, just professional to professional.
Okay,
Hmm.
all right, I'll give them a call tomorrow and I'll let you guys know what I find out.
Terrific. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Any other comments by commission members or agenda items for next month? Okay, hearing none. Do we have a motion to adjourn at 7:32?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. And a second from Andrew?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
You don't actually
We
have
don't
to
have-
vote on adjournment. You can just
You don't have
adjourn.
to vote. Sure.
Just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Knew
Wait a
it.
minute. Wait. No, I'm going to vote no.
I mean, that's what I was
Okay.
thinking, for sure.
Yeah. Hey, Tara, have a great vacation.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy your Juneteenth tomorrow. It's the true Freedom
Okay.
Day.
Everybody have a
Yep.
good night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Yeah.